Bonjour, my name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you're watching Savvy Nomad TV, the Eau de Vie edition. This is episode 19 of How to Pick a Wine. Today, we're tasting Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is just one expression of a whole group of grapes that have the word Pinot in it. Pinot comes from the Latin for pine cone because they're tight little clusters. The other ones that you've probably heard of are Pinot Gris, that's Pinot Gray, Pinot Blanc, white, and possibly you've heard of Pinot Meunier, which is a red grape that is used in the blend that makes champagne. But Pinot Noir, the dark variety, the red one or black one, is the most common and the most sought after. In Burgundy, where it probably evolved, where it's probably always been, where the Romans probably stumbled across it when they were invading Burgundy and said to the Gauls, "Hey, what are you doing with that over there?" And the Gauls were like, "I don't know, we eat it." And the Romans said, "Hey, have you heard about this thing called wine?" And the Gauls were like, "No, tell us more." The French have been making the finest Pinot Noirs for a long time. In Burgundy, you have a hillside, big one. It's almost like a little mountain range, but it's not really mountains, they're hills. Down at the bottom of the hillside, toward the river, you have nice, fertile, loamy soil. And in the Middle Ages, the lords of Burgundy looked around and said, I'm going to grow wheat there, and I'm going to grow wheat there, and I'm going to give this to you and you and you. And all the knights got the best farmland. And they gave some of that wheat to the king or to the lord. The church showed up and said, "Hey, what about me? Don't I get anything?" And the lords looked around at the sides of the hills and thought, "Yeah, you can have that crummy soil up there." Little did they know. The friars went up there and looked around. The monastic orders that formed this nexus of Christianity in France really started partly in Burgundy, the abbey at Cluny being the best example. The friars went up to the top of the hills, looked around and saw that there was a grape growing up there and thought, well, we need sacramental wine. And so they started to plant and make wine. Fast forward 1,000 years and the Burgundian wine industry is beholden to that early monastic orders that desire to make wine in this crummy soil. Pinot Noir likes crummy soil, but it's troublesome. And I think for those early Christian monks, they thought this was a great metaphor for life. Struggle, pain, difficulty. At the end, you get this wonderful expression of beauty, light, and air. The struggle of the grape in the soil is life. The wine itself, at the end, is your reward. It's heaven. Great examples of Pinot Noir can be heavenly, but the grape is temperamental. It ripens or buds early, making it susceptible to frost. It ripens early, making it susceptible to rains and watering down. It is susceptible to powdery mildew, to leaf hoppers, to leaf curl. For a winemaker, it is the greatest expression of wine. Can they make a good Pinot Noir? They do it often in Burgundy, and in Burgundy, if it's a red wine, it's always Pinot Noir, with the exception of Beaujolais. But it'll say Beaujolais on the label, and that's Gamay. If it's white in Burgundy, it's Chardonnay. So when Julia Child makes a beef bourguignon and she says add a bottle of red wine, what are you supposed to add? A bottle of Pinot Noir, because if it's red and it's from Burgundy, it's Pinot Noir. Easy to understand. Pinot Noir is grown all over the world. California, New Zealand, Germany even makes Pinot Noir. But it's difficult to grow there, and those New World expressions make fruitier types of wine. Costco did not have a good French Pinot Noir for us to experiment with, so I bought 2 California expressions. Let's talk about how the California Pinot Noirs taste, and then let's taste them. Now, Pinot Noir is made just like all the other grapes that I've been talking about for the last 19 weeks, made in 2 different styles. There is a Old World style and a New World style. Well, how do you tell the difference? Because these are both from California. Does that mean just because they're from California, they're automatically New World styles? Nope, not really. If it's from France, you can be pretty well sure that it is an Old World style because they are limited in how they're allowed to make it. But in California, it's the Wild West, literally, and you can make wine in almost whatever style you want. So how do you tell? Well, this bottle is bigger. That's a little hint. Here is a French Pinot Noir, and you can see that the bottle is very similar to our Sonoma Coast La Crema. Okay, so it looks more like a French bottle. Maybe it is in a more of a French style. This is fatter. It's got a screw cap. Okay, that's New World screw cap. The French would only use a cork. So the corks are kind of giving it away. But there's one last thing to look for. You can roll back to the back label and we look at the alcohol percentage. This is 14.8. If I look at the La Crema, this is 13.5. Alcohol percentage will give away the style. Bigger alcohol percentage, anything close to 15, is going to be sweeter, fruitier, jammier, more everything in its expression. That's going to be more New World. It's going to be more cocktail friendly. The smaller or less alcohol wines and Pinot Noirs are generally around 13%. You're not going to find one down at 10%. That just is totally wrong. It's going to be 12 to 13.5. This is going to be more food friendly. It's going to be leaner. It's going to have a better acidity, a better nerve, better verve. And this will be sweeter, jammier, and more cocktail friendly. Can you have dinner with this? Of course you can, no problem. Okay, this wine is going to be too warm. I can just tell it already. Yep, it's 63. I would like to drink this around 55, between 50 and 55. So I'm going to put this in the ice bucket. We're going to chill it down, and then we're going to taste it. Okay, so our first wine from California today is a 2019 Boen. This wine was $17.50. That seemed like a reasonable price. There were a lot of different Pinots to choose from, and I was having a hard time picking. So I picked this one because it has 3 different areas of California that they blended the grapes from. So we've got Santa Barbara County, Sonoma County, and Monterey County. Monterey and Sonoma are cool counties, and Pinot Noir doesn't like it too hot. It definitely doesn't want to live over there where Cabernet Sauvignon lives. It doesn't do the heat well. So Sonoma County and Monterey County are great expressions of Pinot Noir from California. Now, Santa Barbara, I don't think I've ever had a singular varietal like Pinot Noir from Santa Barbara, so I can't really say. But Sonoma, it's usually my go-to California Pinot. So this is a blend. That sounds interesting. Screw cap, that's interesting. And I like these big California jammy Pinot Noirs. So I thought, sure, let's give this a go. Okay, so Pinot Noir, what are the things that I'm looking for? If I was in a blind taste test and I was smelling the wine and it smelled like cherry, like even candied cherries, then I would know Pinot Noir. That's it. That's the signature aroma. But it can also have raspberries, strawberries. It can have a barnyard aroma, an herbal aroma. It can smell like cola. It can smell a little bit like oak and vanilla. It's an expressive wine. Let's see how this is. I can smell vanilla. I get a little bit of cherry. It smells nice, but it's not over the top. So I'm going to write vanilla, and I'll give the aroma a 7. Now let's taste it. It's dry. It's full in the mouth. It's sweet for a dry wine. It's not actually a sweet wine, but it has this kind of sweet cola character going on. It's good. It's a medium to medium full body. The acidity is smooth. It isn't making my mouth water, but the acidity is balancing the alcohol, which is now creating a little bit of heat in the belly. So the acidity, I'm going to give it an 8. No, I'll give it a 9. I'm going to change that. I'm going to give it a 9. The balance is good. I don't really notice very much of the burn. I'll give it an 8. Complexity. This is where I want multiple aromas in here. Aromas and flavors. And what's the yumminess factor? The chuggability factor. Is it very high? This tastes nice. It doesn't have a lot of extra aromas. It's sweet in its character. It's jammy and fruity. It's got nice complexity. I'll give it a 7. And the finish is medium long. And does the finish add to the sensation? Yeah. I'll give it a 7 for... Nope, I'll give it an 8 for finish. Okay. There's my Boen Triple Appellation California Pinot for $17.50. I'm going to go put the La Crema in, and we will taste that next. Okay, this second wine I purchased simply because it was from California and $17.99. That's really it. If I saw this in the store and I was looking for a good example of California Pinot, I would seek out wines from Sonoma because they are good deals. They have gotten more expensive. They used to be cheaper. I remember there was a wine from Monterey County called Poppy, as in the California poppy, and that was like $9, and that was a great deal. That was a superb wine, but lost to history. So La Crema makes a quality wine, and let's see how this pairs out to our Boen. Okay, so right off the bat, the color is different. This is darker. The La Crema is lighter. It's red ruby in color, and it's medium in its intensity. Let's see what we get for the aromas. Oh, I get wet dirt, like gravel. That was the first thing I got. Now there's a little bit of fruit, raspberry. and it's starting to build. Maybe a little bit of strawberry. That wet dirt was interesting, though, the gravel. Like, you know, walking on gravel after it's rained. That's what it smelled like initially. I'm going to give that a 9, just because that was very interesting. Okay, let's taste it. Definitely more in a French style. Higher acid, leaner. So it's dry. The acidity is crisp. I can feel it on my tongue. It's making me water a little bit. My mouth water a little bit. Has nice acidity. I'll give it an 8. The balance doesn't burn. The tannins are smooth. The acidity is nice, so it's got good balance. I'll give it a 9. Complexity. It's not overly complex. It doesn't have a lot of extra aromas. I did do a good job of picking the 2 different styles. This is a jammier and fruitier wine, our first one. Our second one is leaner, has better finesse is the word used in the wine industry. That's the acidity, but it's not particularly overly complex. So I'm going to give it a 5. The finish is longish. The tannins are nice and smooth, a little bit grippy. It adds to the sensation. I'll give it an 8. Okay, I'm going to go do my math. Okay, here are my final scores for our 2 California Pinots. The Boen scored 89 points. Wine Enthusiast scored at 88, and the La Crema scored 89 points. What's interesting here is that they scored exactly the same, but the character of the wine is completely different. The grape is the same, the locations are similar or the same, California, but this is a New World style wine, and this is an Old World style wine. Both styles are equally good. Obviously, I scored them exactly the same with different numbers in different categories. It wasn't planned. I just see it like I see it. But you can see the characteristic is different. How the wines taste or even look is different. This is pale, this is dark, this is higher alcohol, this is less. Okay. Anyway, that's all I've got for you this week. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. This is the last episode of How to Pick a Wine, the Noble Grapes. We've done all the Noble Grapes now. 19 episodes. Ran a little longer than I thought, but there are a couple comparisons I wanted to add, so I added an extra episode here and there. This episode will air on June 10th. You'll be watching it whenever you want. There will be no new wine episodes upcoming. I will be in France with Sarah on a canal boat cruising around. If you're interested in that, please consider watching my other videos. There's more canal boat videos upcoming. These 2 things, wine and canal boating, are a little pairing that I like to have in my life. They're hobby jobs. This is not how I make a living. Anyway, that's all I've got. I hope to see you again in the future. I'm going to get Sarah to see what she thinks of these 2 California Pinots. And until then, I say à tout à l'heure and cheers.
Hello. Pinot Noir. Yay. I don't know what they are. That smells nice. Fruity, kind of sweet, and maybe a little bit oaky. That one is less aromatic. bit of a flatter smell, I guess. And they're totally different colors. The fruity sweet one's dark and the slightly flatter one is lighter. I'll try the, I don't know what that is, Boen? I can taste the oak, which lends hints of vanilla, I guess. It's fruity, it's smooth. It went down pretty easy. I'll try the Sonoma Coast La Crema. I do like Zinfandels from Sonoma. Well, it'll go fine with lunch. It's a little flatter. It's just not a lot going on. But, you know, it's fine. Cheers.